Why I'm just doing this is because it's like, why I'm doing these videos, I'm trying to say, I think within, you know, the Black community, within the Pan-African space, there's a lot of forgery. There is a lot of people that, you know, there's so many people within the Pan-African space, like it's actually too much. And it's kind of like, okay, some people are making sense of what they're doing, some people aren't making sense of what they're doing. Some people are making up their own stuff, like in terms of what they believe in, and it's too much. It's too much.
It's monarchy. Nathan.
So hi everyone, welcome back to Afroswing podcast. I hope you're all doing well. Please like, share and subscribe. And yes, I'm gonna get into this because I remember I said on the last, not the last video, but the video before, when I was talking about the Black Manosphere, I said I was going to talk about Dr. Umar Johnson. And the reason why I want to talk about him is because for the longest time I've been a fan of, you know, what he talks about. He's a Pan-African, I'm also a Pan-African. I went to see him when he came here in 2018 in London, UK. I think I came across him around maybe 2017, and I saw an interview of him on the Breakfast Club, and at that time I was sort of, you know, going, I don't even say going into this phase, but you know, I was really starting to research more of our real African history, you know, trying to go to sort of community events, like African community events in the UK, in London specifically. So I started that journey of really trying to be within the community, to be within the Pan-African community, to be specific. And he really helped me on that journey, even though he's based in America. But I felt like he said so much truth, a lot of truth that's needed to hear, although he's very controversial in some of the things that he says and said. So
I am the Moses of the miseducation machine. In 2019, after 400 years, Dr. Umar Johnson is saying, let my people go, let black boys go, out of the public school system, out of the charter school system.
Yeah, I remember he came in 2018, then he talked about how the school and how his critics were, you know, saying X, Y, Z and mocking him, and how the school was, you know, was going to come up and it's going to be open, blah, blah, blah. Then, okay, 2019, blah, blah, whatever. Then again, you know, COVID last year. So I then saw the interview that he did on Lord Jamal's podcast a couple of months ago. And prior to that, I was already having doubts about, okay, where's the school, blah, blah, blah. And I suppose with me, like, I've never donated to a school. Okay, I paid when he came to UK, I paid a ticket to go and see him. So I'm obviously assuming that funds go to him, of course, which is fine. I think he speaks, you know, a lot of knowledge and truth. So I was more than fine to pay that to go see him. But I've never actually gone on his Cash App or gone on a website, blah, 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 whatever, to donate specifically to the school. So now, you know, there was starting to be questions asked you regarding the school, blah, 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 and all this stuff. But I remember he did a very good live around the protests, at the height of the protests last year in 2020. And there was so many people on that live. And I even invited some people that I knew that would be interested in what he had to say on the live. So I still had queries about the school. Then I saw the Lord Jamal interview, and how, you know, he got very defensive and they were asking about the school and why it's still not done. And then Lord Jamal gave him an example of how his father-in-law was able to set up a school and what he did and blah, 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 and all this stuff. So that was like the biggest red flag for me. Of course, there are red flags before in terms of like why the school is still not up and complete. And he's been receiving donations for years. So that was the main red flag. But I was still like, okay, you know, the new person here, I haven't donated to the school, so I will just listen to him in terms of what he's saying, and I'll, whatever I agree with, I'll take, and whatever I don't agree with, I'll just leave it at that. And why I'm just doing this is because it's like, why I'm doing these videos, I'm trying to say, I think within, you know, the Black community, within the Pan-African space, there's a lot of forgery, there's a lot of people that, you know, there's so many people within the Pan-African space, like, it's actually too much. And it's kind of like, okay, some people are making sense of what they're doing, some people aren't making sense of what they're doing, some people are making up their own stuff, like in terms of what they believe in, and it's too much, it's too much. But I think, you know, now when this whole beef between him and Kevin Samuels then came up, and okay, I don't want to use the word beef maybe, but how he was sort of indirectly critiquing him and saying, you know, there's 12 beta YouTubians and all of this stuff. And I think what I'm trying to say here is, as much as there's a lot of controversy around Dr. Umar and also Kevin Samuels as well, I think they both have their strengths where they're impacting the Black community. Am I saying that Dr. Umar is right for taking, you know, so many donations and there's still not a complete school that's up and running? I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying if you remove that and you hear him when he talks about institutional racism, white supremacy, you know, the structure of you know, America and how it's run, it's very interesting. And, you know, he's very articulate. Even when he came to the UK, like his presence when he walked in, when he was going onto the stage, like his aura, and then even when he's speaking to you, it's like you feel like you're in church. I think I even said amen at one point, you know, just because he has a very strong presence. And he's also quite charismatic as well. Like afterwards, like loads of people were pushing to try and get pictures of him. I got a picture of him and he's like, hey, come here, queen, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, you know, I'm a real fan of what you do, like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, thank you so much, blah, blah, whatever. So, like, I feel, and also as well, he knows history regarding the continental African history, because like he was in Hidden Colors. He also understands how it is in the UK for us as Black people, and also like how it is in Black Europe and, you know, in other parts of the diaspora where there's a Black community. Whereas, you know, what I found, especially listening to Americans, not all Black Americans, but there's quite a few, and even on Clubhouse, a lot of the time they think that we're here, we're just having afternoon tea and crumpets, you know, institutional racism doesn't exist, racism doesn't exist, period. Police brutality, like, you know, like a lot of Americans think that we don't have any problems, we don't have any issues, we just, you know, we're just basically like Black like you guys, but we just have a different accent. And that's far from it. And I think also what drew me to listen to him is because he's actually been here to the UK a couple of times and he actually understands what we're going through. And like I said in the beginning, he's a Pan-African. So, and of course with Kevin Samuels, he has a lot of controversy around him as well. But again, like I've said in the other videos that I've done, I think, you know, majority of the time, I absolutely agree with what he's saying and what he's talking about. But I just think now, I just saw another video that O'Shea done today where, you know, Dr. Umar is now going and blowing like donation money, trying to get more money. And I'm just like, for me, I'm like, Pan-Africanism today, is it generally Pan-Africanism or is it a money-making scheme? Like, you guys let me know, because I've been to, not all, but I've been to some community events and it's like they're really hounding you to donate and all this stuff, and then you see so many YouTube people talking, donating, trying to do business and all this stuff. And you know, I absolutely love what Kenganda's doing. Like I said, I've been on there several times, but I don't know what the state of Pan-Africanism is today. I just feel as if it's more of an ego thing, and you know, who can influence the Black community the most, and who can gain from that influence monetarily the most. Yeah, I don't know what you guys think about that. Let me know in the comments. But I just wanted to do this video to say that I think if you're Pan-African, if you care about the Black community, if you want to learn knowledge and you want knowledge of thyself, improve yourself, I think there's so many different things you can learn from different people, and I think it's, in my opinion, it's a case of just taking what makes sense from certain individuals and leaving the nonsense there with them. And I mean, it's very sad that the schools haven't been set up and whatnot, and I just also feel as if, you know, with this whole culture of going online, blasting people, exposing people, all of this stuff, we need to be using these platforms to share knowledge, of course critique, but critique where it makes sense and where there's solutions as well, and not critiquing out of ego and, oh, because you see people are doing well and they're getting money, so you're now going to critique them and say that what they're doing is not right, blah blah blah. Because I've seen a lot of that. I've seen so much of that on YouTube, and I'm really new to YouTube, as most of you guys probably already know, so it's like a whole new world, and I don't know if people do it for views, for likes, for money. I don't know what it is, but I think, again, guys, like, we need to come together. We need to use these platforms properly, and we need to share knowledge that makes sense, of course, and yeah, support each other. Not always, it doesn't even have to be monetarily, but it can just be like by shouting out somebody, by listening to someone, by following someone's page, doing those small things. But yeah, to summarize, I feel as if the state of Pan-Africanism today is just an absolute craziness, and you know, I think, like, between this whole Dr. Umar and Kevin, I'm sorry doctor, but Kevin is doing a lot more positive things, and there's tangible evidence at the moment. So yeah, that's my thoughts, because I've actually personally gone to see Dr. Umar, so I just wanted to chime in on that and give my thoughts and say that although the schools aren't complete and whatever, and you know, it's wrong that he's, this whole thing of the money, there's so much money that's not accounted for and whatever, and it's very unfortunate, but I think people should still take what he said about the comments that he's critiqued about the community seriously, because there are things that we do need to work on and that we do need to improve. So yeah, so guys, please like, share and subscribe, yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.